And we are out of the studio, getting this weekend started a little early, and we're doing that at the 36th Annual St. Louis Working Women Show. Jim Davis is the guy behind the show now. He is the executive director. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being here. We're having such a great weekend.
Oh my gosh, and it is just getting started. When did you guys lose the survival part? Because it used to be Working Women's Survival Show.
You know, it's actually been about 5 years ago that we started phasing it out. It's just so in the vernacular that people can't let go of survival.
No.
But we are absolutely the St. Louis Working Women Show.
And what did the survival mean?
You know, I think in the beginning it meant working women need things to help them survive.
Yeah.
To survive all the things they have to do. And I don't think that's actually true anymore.
Right.
I think that's actually more about thriving and less about surviving.
I kind of like how it's gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of felt a little like, I don't know how I feel about that. Kind of a little not so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Gone now.
Well, it is. I mean, there's all kinds of new products, and there's dips, and there's cooking stations. I remember when I was covering it years ago, and it was like one of the first times that the laundry balls, you could throw those in your dryer.
Yeah, right.
So what are some of the more innovative vendors that you have this year?
You know, it's amazing how those things sort of grow and change over the years. And so it's like there's some crypto companies here.
Ooh.
Like, who would have thought? But it's actually not as boring as it sounds. It's actually kind of cool. We've also got these things called Z-Pods, and they are sleeping chambers for kids with sensory issues.
I walked past those, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, it's amazing that there's space for a child with sensory issues to be able to go and have a place to be quiet and deprived of any sensory intake.
Wow.
And that's really I think that's innovative and cool.
Absolutely. And parents are constantly looking for some sort of help when it comes to that.
They are. And event producers like me are looking for a place to go hide. So if you can't find me, that's where
You're
I'm
in the
at.
Z-Pod.
I'm in the Z-Pod. Don't tell my staff.
Now, somebody is saying, is it kind of ironic that a man is in charge of the Working Women's Show? And I will say, the founder, Jerry, passed away.
She did. We lost her back in July.
Yeah.
And that was one of the hardest days of my life, I have to admit. She was a great friend of mine.
And you've been here for years with her.
I worked for her over 20 years on the show, and it was as much a part of my life as it was hers, I think. And when I went to her funeral back in July, her husband said, we're going to close it down.
Oh, my gosh.
And I said, no, you're not. And he said, unless you want it. And my head exploded in that moment. I'm like, that's actually maybe a thing we can do. And my partner, Scott, and I, we did it. We bought the show. It's as much about family and keeping that family of the exhibitors together, keeping that family of people who come to see the show together, and keeping that family of people who work on the show, who work with me to produce this thing. Because let's admit, I mean, I may be the guy who's doing it, but I'm not doing it myself.
Right.
I've got amazing vendor coordinators and supervisors. I've got an amazing producer who does all of the stages and the seminars and the special features. My partner is in charge of all the finance. And we've got people who do all those sorts of different things so that I can make it all work.
It takes a village.
It takes a village.